Not only did an NRA board member suggest that not having guns in churches was actually what was to blame for the Charleston, South Carolina mass shooting, Bryan Fischer and Fox News had the same idea. Let's start with Bryan Fischer. Christian Bryan Fischer from the American Family Association took to Twitter to explain the real problem that led to the 9 deaths in South Carolina. He said, quote, "Misguided bans on guns in houses of worship turned this black church in South Carolina into a shooting gallery. Nobody could shoot back. Following this line of thinking that the solution to gun violence is always more guns." And Bryan Fischer was not alone. The Fox and Friends crowd said the exact same thing that morning. Let's go to the videotape. Take a look.
You know, he makes such a good point, and
surprised me with that point, too.
Had somebody in that church had a gun, they probably would have been able to stop him. And I'll tell you why. There are a couple of news reports out this morning that apparently that man, we don't know what the nature of his weapon is, but apparently he reloaded 5 times. I mean, if you take the time to reload 5 times, if somebody was there, they would have had the opportunity to pull out their weapon and take him out.
This may be the first time, Lewis, that a Fox News host complained about a group of black people not having enough guns.
That's funny, isn't it? Yes, the story worked out just perfectly to allow for them to make this commentary.
And of course, extensive research says otherwise. The Harvard Injury Control Center concluded that more guns lead to higher homicide rates, which holds true across various environments. The gun advocates say household guns can protect women from domestic violence, although firearms actually increase the likelihood of being shot and killed at home. And proponents of these relaxed gun laws also argue that guns on school grounds could prevent mass shootings, like, for example, on college campuses. But we happen to have data from the Journal of American College Health, which found that schools with more lenient firearms policies experience more gun threats than schools that prohibit students to have firearms on campus. So, yeah, maybe in this incredible scenario, we could have had the right person with the right gun at the right time in that church who pulls the gun out and in the midst of this craziness takes out Dylan Roof. But it's just as likely, or more likely, Lewis, according to the data, that it would have led to an even more confusing crossfire and even more people killed.
Yeah, I really don't think more guns is the answer. It's in those situations, any number of things can happen, and it's complicated. Most of the time we don't see those people defending themselves with guns. So I'll just stick with the data we have here in front of us.
And Lewis, this isn't about the criticism I'm sure we'll get, which is we don't think people should have the ability to defend themselves. It's not about freedom and liberty to defend oneself. It's about an evidence-based approach to what we know and a sort of logical application of critical thinking. Think of the Aurora Batman movie theater shooter. People saying more guns in the theater would have just allowed us to take that guy out immediately. You're saying that starting a crossfire in a dark theater when you're not even sure who shot first and who's the good guy with the gun and who's the bad guy with the gun, that is such an obvious solution? Of course it's not.
No, it isn't. I also don't think that these shooters, if they were to know that there were people in the church that had a gun, if they were to know that there were people in the movie theater that had guns, I don't think it would be a deterrent for them either. I think they would still be committing these crimes.
No question. Dylan Roof, a guy whose manifesto said he wanted to kill black people. He's also anti-Semitic. We'll talk about all that. He's going to be deterred from what appears to be something he feels so strongly that he has to do because of the rape that black men are perpetrating on white women. He's going to say, you know what, I'll cancel the whole thing because someone in the church might have a gun. I don't think so. You're living in a fantasy land if that's what you think is going on.